Tommy here. I hope you're doing amazing. We're here in Sedona, AZ. Sedona, Arizona is one of the most beautiful places in the world and considered a mecca for connection, for nature, for spirituality, and all these types of other amazing things. So I'm gonna actually pick up my friend Josh Trent. He's a brother, someone who I respect dearly, and today we're gonna teach you some stuff. We're gonna teach you about why all of your growth is, all of your transformation, all the results that you want is gonna require you to understand and be resilient with your emotions. And we're gonna give you a simple process that as a creator, as an entrepreneur, somebody who wants to grow in life and business can use to manage these emotions. And I always say all transformation is emotional. Whether you wanna lose 35 pounds, whether you wanna go from a $75,000 a year business to a $250,000 a year business, whether you wanna hire a team, whether you wanna move to your dream place or attract the perfect relationship, you know, the soulmate relationship, it's all gonna be emotional. You're gonna brush up against your emotional edges, and this is when most people quit. So stay tuned for this epic episode with my dude, Josh Trent. Pain is a gift. Sky's the limit. There he is.
Look at this.
Told you guys I had a special guest today. My man.
What's up? Good morning.
How we living?
Hey.
Great to see you.
I like that. Do you want to make a maca drink inside?
Yeah, let's do that.
Come on in,
Maca
man.
drink?
You can meet.
So what are we gonna do now?
We're gonna do maca, cacao, almond milk, and a little
You think
bit
it's smart
of
to give me caffeine?
stevia. Have you ever had a coffee before?
I have.
So we got maca, MCT, raw cacao, and an Organifi tool that emulsifies this.
Nice.
Yeah. Look at that. Cheers, man.
Salud.
Save the drama for your yum.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Just giving. This is the law of reciprocity and the law of vibration, as you know.
Yeah.
Like it operates on the same frequency, man.
Totally, man.
When I give truly without expecting something back,
Yeah.
that's when I receive.
Totally. That's
Like,
awesome.
look at our friendship. I've never wanted anything from you.
Yeah.
We're just friends.
Yeah.
And then as being friends, we just naturally do stuff for each other because
Yeah.
that's what friends do. But it's not. It's
You just
not,
wanna give, you wanna help,
Yeah,
you
but it's
wanna.
not like a transaction.
No.
There's so many fucking transactional
I know,
relationships
man.
right now. It's insane.
It is. Yeah. In our world, in our space, it's rampant. And you can feel the energy. I mean, if you're grounded in it, you just feel that energy.
For sure.
It's like, made it through the arduous trek. I mean, that was
It was at
miles
least
of
9 to 10
blood,
minutes
sweat,
of
and
walking.
tears. Josh had to carry me up this whole section.
I carried Tommy.
That's brotherhood.
Fireman style on my back.
That's brotherhood right there. As we approach the beauty of Slide Rock Park, we talk about this concept, or we've been having this conversation of emotional adaptability. Now, to me personally, I always say all change, anything that we desire, that we want to bring to life that is currently not in existence, just an idea in the ether, no matter what that is, a thriving business, soulmate connection, moving to our favorite place, it's going to require pushing up against our emotional boundaries. So I love that you teach this on Wellness Force. By the way, great podcast, check it out here. But how do you define emotional adaptability?
So I like to speak an analogy and by metaphor. So think of a chameleon. When a chameleon's on a tree or a rock or somewhere, and this is just one micro example on a macro level, this emotional adaptability, I think it's someone's capacity, their ability to adapt to a situation that is causing them stress. So the more that we can literally be aware of our mindset and be aware of how we're being, how we're reacting, how adaptive we are to stress, then the better life we're gonna have, the better quality of life we're gonna have. And so take this one example where we walk up a hill to go to a cold plunge, and even the cold plunge itself, like some people could look at a cold plunge and say, oh my God, this is super uncomfortable. I'm super excited because I know that after the uncomfort comes greater levels of peace and performance. So this is really how I see the adaptability or being a chameleon is taking the parts of the environment that we can actually use from a eustress perspective. You know, there's distress, there's eustress. Using the eustress so that we become more resilient, more adaptive, and we could just live life better. I mean, isn't that what this is all about? All this training stimulus?
Absolutely.
So that's the whole point, man.
Now, tell me why this matters in the context of, you know, you run
How long you been running your business, your own show?
Well, this has been 4 years of podcast, but
4 years of podcast.
6 years of like really going into wellness force, like deep dive into wellness force.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in that context of creation, business, entrepreneurship, speak about emotional
Adaptability.
adaptability in regards to keeping the fire alive, keeping the dream alive, and taking the next step when things get hard in business.
We all can relate to this. Like some days are just really hard, you know, to the point where
Even if you're on purpose,
yeah,
and passion,
even if you're on purpose and you're on fire and you're leading
even if
life.
Your morning routine and aligns your chakras.
Yeah, if everything's perfect, your morning routine's perfect and everything's legit. Sometimes things just suck and you might want to quit. You might want to say, forget about this. Like, I am literally going to quit. And it's those moments, I call them inflection points. There's these little points where with the wrong decision or with the wrong intention, if you're not heart-based, if you're not really pulling from your heart, then when you reach that inflection point, you're going to depress your expression, depress your fuel source instead of express your fuel source. So an inflection point is for depression or expression. So man, I mean, there's been multiple nights, 3 a.m., my VA was sick, going through stress, personal issues, writing a blog, finishing a podcast show notes, like doing everything. Those first 2 years were the most challenging because I was literally a one-man show. And even now, like the bigger the dream, the more levels that I go through to make it bear fruit.
Okay,
and
so that's huge right there.
What are you about to do right now?
Just what is this, like 7 feet? Just small little jump.
40 feet.
I feel like you gotta go. We're about to do this cold plunge, and it's like, why not just go?
Why not just go full bore?
Take the vertical route.
You know what, Tommy? Just resist average, bro.
That's
Just resist the average.
what we're here for, right?
this guy, jumping off cliffs.
How's it feeling, my brother?
Feels like healing.
Yeah.
It seriously feels like healing.
It does. It does.
How is life just like this, where we get in something and it sucks at first?
Yeah.
And then after, like, we
Those
embrace,
first few seconds.
we like allow the suck to just
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
The resistance goes down, the white knuckling goes down, and then the healing and the lessons come through, man. This is like cold water is a metaphor for life.
Absolutely.
And I'm not trying to wax poetic either. I mean, legitimately,
No,
it just is.
There's so much perspective. There's so much clarity. There's so much healing growth on the other side of it. That's why I do it nearly every day, cold water therapy. I want to talk about this though.
Yeah.
You were talking about emotional adaptability.
Yep.
See, I say resilience so much that I'm like, now like my brain's like rewiring itself to see adaptability. But you talk about it as a practice. And I think, let's just say back in the context of business or bringing something to life, there's so much focus on skills like marketing, skills like funnels, skill like communication, all of which have value in the proper context. But nobody sees emotional training, emotional adaptation, emotional resilience as a practice. So why is it so important to, one, see it as a practice, and then what are some ways that we can actually practice it?
Yeah, the importance of emotional adaptability. But think of it like this. Everybody knows something they want to say at certain times. And what holds people back from speaking their truth, from saying whatever it is that their authentic soul actually wants to say. And it's fear, man. It's fear. Like fear, false evidence appearing real, however you want to describe it. It's the fear that we all have. It's a universal shared emotion. So instead of ignoring the fear, how do we actually just accept and surrender that the fear is there? And then here's the emotional adaptability quotient. Number one, we have the awareness that fear is here. We have the awareness that it's a shared universal emotion. And then how do we actually use the energy of that fear so that we can catapult it? Almost like if you were a little kid and you had a water balloon launcher. We all know that the further back you pull the water balloon launcher, the further that the balloon is going to shoot. So if we can allow ourselves to be pulled into the fear and actually like feel the fear, the analogy would be like pulling back how far you could shoot if you feel the fear, if you actually let yourself feel it. So man, emotional adaptability and fear, I think that it's the things we don't say because we're afraid. That's the number one practice. How do we do it? number one practice is speaking your truth in moments where it feels really scary to do so. It could be in relationship, it could be in business, it could be on a podcast, whatever. It doesn't matter where it is. We all know. You know that feeling when you leave a situation and you're like, God, I should have said this. The should and should not monster comes out when we didn't have the courage to speak our truth. That's really how it goes down. And it's a practice, right? It's a practice. So can we just commit to being imperfect about the embracement of fear? And I think cold water, exercise, doing interviews, like all of this stuff, it gets people into that dance with the fear.
It builds that discomfort muscle.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like for me, I think that's the biggest value of a morning routine, a morning ritual, is that you're building the discomfort muscle. You know, I have resistance when I meditate almost every day, and I love meditation.
Yeah.
But I have resistance.
Yeah.
When I train, even though I desire to train and I have 10 years like you in fitness.
It still kind of sucks in the beginning.
Yeah, dude. It's like, I call it chasing the first bead. Chasing the first bead of sweat.
Yeah.
Until that first beat, I'm like, should I be doing this? Why am I here? I gotta do other stuff in my business. Yeah, and then the first beat comes and you're like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And you finish the workout with more perspective and you get a lesson from it and you're like, that's why I'm here again. And when you compound that over time, you lean into the fear, you lean into the cold, you lean into the early mornings or whatever it is. And that's when you really, to me, that's when you discover, you learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
And you increase real confidence and capability, and then it becomes fun.
And I think what people forget is for everyone, no matter how many innate skills they're born with or talents, it's always going to suck in the beginning. Always. And I think that's what holds people back from like creating is they know it's the flinch. They know it's gonna suck. And so they just choose to not do it because it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But guess what? The suck means you're on the right path. The suck means that you're in the right place, no matter who you are. There's many actors that have gone on record and they say, you know, before a big performance, they'll throw up, and they've been acting for 30 years. So I don't think that suck ever goes away.
Yeah.
I think that people just get stronger at embracing the suck. That's it for all of us, man. All human beings are like that. We're all the same. We're pretending we're not the same. Like, we're pretending we're not Beyonce. We're pretending we're not like Hugh Jackman. We're pretending we're not stars.
Yeah.
And we're all fucking stars.
Yeah.
We're all stars.
We all have that greatness and that capability inside of us. It's just what we do with it.
Yep.
All right, so we've done ice bath, we've had some lunch, we've been talking about emotional ability, emotional resilience, emotional adaptability.
Yep.
Any final words to wrap it up and give someone out there some encouragement?
Yeah, I'd actually like to quote Osho, courage. Love is a rare flowering. Sometimes it happens. It is rare because it can only happen when there is no fear, never before. How is that a perfect mirror for every single thing we do? If I'm not loving something, if I'm not really, if my heart's not connected to something, it's gonna be 5 times as hard.
Yes.
So I think a big piece of today was just doing the things you enjoy, like having the conversations you actually enjoy, other than the option which would exist to be like floating through life, letting life kind of float you. We're all floating down the river anyways, so I think we're all either enjoying the float and finding little alcoves to stop at and rest, or we're just letting the current take us. And I think there's a dance between fighting the current and flowing with it, and occasionally choosing to stop and love the life you're living. So choose the love, my friends. Choose the love. It's always there. And do ice baths, because they suck, and then when you embrace the suck, life is easier. And listen to Wellness Force Radio. This is Wellness Force all over the internet. Literally just type in Wellness Force and I'll come up on the Google.
Guys, so that's a wrap. We had a lot of fun with Josh. Obviously, that was a little bit different episode because we took you through a journey. We went through to the park and then we went to the ice bath. But I want to peel back the layers because your emotional resilience, like this is everything as an entrepreneur, as a creator, as a thought leader. Listen, the road's going to be a lot harder than the motivational videos tell you it is. And I'm even guilty of that. Some of my content is very inspirational. But a lot of the reasons why you're here and why people tune back with me is because I'm very blunt about the process. And your ability to handle your emotions, your ability to, 1, understand your emotions, which is emotional intelligence, and 2, emotional adaptability, which is Josh's term or mine, which is resilience, which just means how fast can you get back in the game? How fast can you get on purpose? How fast can you get back into meaning? That's going to determine your success as an entrepreneur. So I know there's a lot of YouTube videos that are going to get 5 times, 20 times, 100,000 times the views because they say, you know, the 5 hacks to 6 figures and how you can do this. None of that's going to matter if you can't handle your emotions. None of that's going to matter if you can't
handle the stress and anxiety and challenge and adversity that comes throughout the path. Just want to remind you of that. So I want to hear what you got from this. As always, if this is connected, grab my audio training experience. You can grab that at resistaverageacademy.com. Just click the link below. This audio training, it's about an hour, a little bit over an hour. It's going to guide you through not only creating a bold vision, but reverse engineering your success every step of the way. See you guys soon.